IE Preps Magazine here with the legend, Mr. Jesse Cerda of Summit High School. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you.
We have been visiting Summit High School and documenting the amazing feats that the cheer program has had for the past 8 years of IE Preps Magazine. We are nominating you as Cheer Program of the Decade.
Wow.
Let's start from your position title. What is your position title here?
Here at Summit High School, I'm the ASB Director and Head Cheer Coach for the Summit Cheerleaders.
When did you start coaching cheer at Summit High School?
I started working with cheer in about 2010. So 2010, 2011, around that time when I started working here. Back then I was volunteering for Coach Bruick and just learning the ways of Summit High School. So,
what was the state of Summit cheer at the time when you took over?
They were doing really well. We were going to nationals. We had consistently placed third and in the top three. For the past, I believe, 3 years in a row, we had gotten top three at USA Nationals. So the drive was there to succeed, and it was building the program at that time.
Now, a lot of people don't know just how much time you put in, not only to your students, into the program, but just you build them up, and it's not just you graduated and goodbye. We've had many interviews in the past where you've had former people in your spirit program talk about how you've helped them in college, supported them as they've continued their different careers, and some even into cheer. Where do you find the ongoing energy? Because you haven't been doing this for just 2 years. You've been doing this for many years. Where do you find the energy and the endurance to continue your pace?
You know what? My drive comes from my students. Whether it's practices, whether it's anything coming up, competitions, I always tell my kids that if the whole team wants to do it, I'll be there for them. So if they want to add in any additional practices, if they want to come together and, the week of nationals practice even more, if there's 100% commitment from the team, then there's 100% commitment from the coach. And I've had that from my teams for several years now, and I can't be nothing but committed if my athletes are committed.
Speaking of athletes, CIF has formally recognized cheer as a sport after the 2018-2019 school year. There was a actual CIF trophy being awarded. How did that feel for you, and how did your cheerleaders and your members of your spirit program respond to CIF's recognition of that?
I'd have to say that this one right here is definitely something special. To hold in our hands the inaugural Cheer CIF Championship is something big for our school. Our principal, our administration, our athletic director are really supportive, and the inaugural one is something special because it's definitely something that no one else has right now, and no one else can get this. It's special because it's the first time that, like you said, cheer is recognized as a sport in the state of California, and our athletes have always worked hard, have conditioned, have worked out, have lifted, have done everything that every other sport has done. But now we officially get that CIF recognition, and it's great to see that our athletes are being recognized in that way here in California.
I want to concur with you on that. A lot of people don't know that cheer is definitely a sport, but not only that, it's the sport that has to sustain other sports as well. So you not only have your competition season, but you're expected to support basketball, football, and many other sports throughout the year. If there's any school event, cheer has to be there. The spirit program has to be involved with any community events. So of all the sports, I believe it's the most demanding and the most time-consuming for the athletes and the coach. What would you agree?
I would absolutely agree. Our cheerleaders at every event here at Summit High School and all community events in Fontana, throughout the city, like I said, and they're always doing their part to give back to the community as well. So community service projects, we volunteer at homeless shelters and working with different community groups in elementary schools. So I would say that our athletes are definitely in high demand, and they work hard all year. It's not just about us and these trophies around us, but about giving back and making sure that our athletes know and learn and grow as people.
Now, for people who don't know about the different levels of cheer and the different competitions, there's UCA, there's USA, there's JAMS, there's now CIF. How do you compartmentalize or break down to your teams, this is what we want to go after for this one? Do you have a hierarchy of how you approach them, and can you explain it?
Well, I think it takes a level of smart coaching. Each different type of company has different types of score sheets. So whenever we go into an event, it's up to really the coach to make sure that their athletes are prepared. So whether we go into cheer pros, jams, USA or UCA, whatever company we're competing in, it's always up to the coach to ensure that their athletes are ready to prepare to compete for that level of competition. So I always train my athletes to know what the score sheets are and where we have to be. And we always choreograph our routines and make sure that our athletes are pushed to ensure that we're successful. So it does take a level of coaching just like any other sport. Your coaches have to be actively involved and know where you're putting your students into. That's one of the reasons that I'm so proud that we have won awards in every major company for cheerleading. We've won in everywhere from Sharp to Jams to Cheer Pros to UCA and of course USA. So we've taken on UCA this year, which is a big brand. It's probably the most prestigious cheerleading competition in the country. It actually is. It's televised on ESPN, and hopefully you'll see our face on there in the coming months as our students did get recognized in the top 3. But UCA is the next biggest challenge that I wanted to challenge our athletes with, because we have kind of conquered everything here on the West Coast, and now it's time for our students to expand their horizons and really see what else is out there. So competing against high schools from other states was the next challenge for these kids.
Well, one of the things I've always also noticed about your program is that you have a large number of male spirit leaders as well, which is really good, and it allows you to just be a lot more versatile in your different competitions. Can you talk about how you've been able to recruit so many? It seems like young men at Summit just want to get involved. Can you talk about how that has been?
You know what? These gentlemen find their home with cheer, and it's something that they probably didn't see as a home in the first place. So when they come to me, they kind of learn and see how we grow and how we coach together as a team, and they recruit each other. You know, they really like the sport. They end up falling in love with it. It ends up being something that they can actually do later on in life or in college and kind of help them out. Traveling to UCA also gave them an opportunity to speak to many out-of-state colleges. There was a lot of colleges interested in our gentlemen. We currently took 8 to Florida to compete, and we have another 6 on JV. So that's a huge co-ed program. And these kids know that they are pushing college level skills. So a lot of the colleges really are interested in recruiting our gentlemen to get scholarships and go to different colleges out of state, which is amazing, the doors that cheerleading can open for the guys and the girls in cheerleading.
Now, on a lot of campuses, the activity director is the busiest person on campus. I know from personal experience. But you're doing cheer and activities. Somehow you still manage to have a life. How do you balance that professionally?
You know what, it's tough, but liking where you work is where it starts. And Summit is definitely my home and my passion and my love, and these kids are what I work for. They're what motivate me every day to come to work and to do what I do. So when you love what you work, it's not really a job, it's your lifestyle and your home. And like I said, this is a family here. From football on to all the rest of the sports, we treat each other like family. And I always tell the kids, it's not always going to be perfect. There isn't a perfect family out there. But when you know you work together and you're going to have each other's backs, that's a strong family. And Summit provides that for all of us. So I think my motivation comes from just making sure that I know that I'm doing it for these kids every day and coming to work to make Summit a better place. So the culture as an ASB director is a big part of my job. And I think that having cheerleaders with me on this journey to create this culture, it goes hand in hand.
It really does. Now, there are a couple people that I think of in covering Inland Empire sports for the past 8 years, nearly 10 years, that are, without question, the leaders and will go down as legends in what they do. In high school football, at Corona Centennial, it's Matt Logan. He's revolutionized football at the high school level. He's a coach's coach. Coaches go to him to get mentored. There's Coach Richard Robertson at Norco for girls softball. Just a standard of excellence over years. And there's you in cheer.
Thank you.
A standard of excellence. You also are a coach's coach. If you go around the Inland Empire, there are a lot of cheer coaches that have said, hey, yes, Mr. Cerda has helped me. Jesse's helped me. Also, activities directors have used you as a reference. But you keep a humble spirit, always personable, and you don't, let the ego and the success get to you. Have you ever reflected on how successful you've been, not just, with awards, but just with young people? Do you ever reflect and kind of go like, man, this is pretty cool?
You know what, it is. I try not to, I don't know how to reflect when I try to live in the moment with these kids. It's hard to look at these things around you and have it define your job when I know that my job is defined more by the success of my kids. So you talked about it earlier. I reflect more on where my kids are right now and if I did the right thing as a coach. So seeing my kids graduating from ASU, UCLA, the local Cal States and community colleges, like that's where my success is found. And not really next to me, but like I said, with what they're doing now in the world and where my kids are. And I still keep in contact with a lot of my athletes, and a lot of them are still doing either stuff with cheer, or, moving on in their education or doing other things. And I think I reflect more on my success as my students are successful. So I think my success is reflected in all the kids that have come through my program.
Awesome. Last question. You have some hardware next to you. You've talked about the CIF plaque. Can you tell us about the two other trophies you have next to you?
So these two other trophies are from UCA. It's the first time that any Fontana school has made finals at UCA or even competed at UCA. So it's a big accomplishment. We went against schools from all over the country, Kentucky, Tennessee, all over Missouri. And our students really competed against the best of the best co-ed teams in the whole entire country. And it was an honor to just make finals at UCA. And then to find out that we went into finals in third place was amazing. I was definitely in tears as a coach, just proud of these athletes. They put on a performance of a lifetime. And then to go into finals and keep our placement in third place and win medals, which are right here, it means a lot that these kids were recognized for their hard work. I know that we work here hard on the West Coast and that we put in all the work and we're successful here, but to hear that we can actually compete among the best teams in the West Coast and against all these affluent schools that have done so well for so many years and have this history in that competition really means a lot that we placed in the top 3. It doesn't come easy. A lot of schools went from California to compete over there and didn't come back with what we did. So it's something special. It's the first one for me, and I know that I only have 3 seniors in the program, and next year we're going to come even harder. They had a taste of it, and when you give us a taste, we want more. So next year, these kids have committed to working hard, and our goal is a white jacket. So hopefully you'll see a white jacket in California for Summit High School in the near future.
Well, listen, on behalf of IE Preps Magazine, we are beyond proud of your work that you're doing with our area youth and also in cheer and activities. You are a standout human being, and we just love what you're doing. You are officially an IE legend, and continue your great work and have a great rest of the school year.
You too. Thank you so much.